Friends, welcome to this video program on MOOCs, Design and Development, Messy Open Online Courses. We will very briefly give a preliminary introduction to MOOC and what kind of MOOCs are available today and how we should proceed to develop good MOOCs. So, as you can see on your screen, this is called a massive open online course. Basically, when we have been offering full online programs, maybe a certificate, diploma, or a degree program, undergraduate and postgraduate programs, it was felt eventually that these programs are credit-based and one has to pay for these programs. And eventually, one has to work full-time. But there have been necessities over a period of time that some of the smaller modules, which could be converted into courses, online courses, and which can be taken up by people in a large number. And most of the cases, they are not paid for. And in some cases, you have to pay for if you have to transfer the credit to your main certificate, diploma, or degree programs. So therefore, MOOCs were created. We'll come to the history of MOOCs. And MOOCs were created by taking the chunk of or modules from the main program to be offered to internationally to people free of cost. And therefore, large number of people could be joining in. But while doing that, if you are offering a program through a proprietary LMS called a WebCity or Blackboard or any other platform, or maybe an open source platform like, for instance, largely used platform Moodle, then it becomes very difficult for others to get into that because that is within the mainstream learning management system, LMS. And therefore, those who intended, some of the universities like MIT, which opened up in 2000 based on the UNESCO report for open education resources, some of these as open education resources, and eventually getting into transforming those into modules and getting into MOOCs. And therefore, there was a need for a separate platform where the students would not be able to or will not be provided almost all the facilities that are being provided in a mainstream online program through the proprietary or open source LMS, but they would also get access to the fundamentals, the foundational aspects relating to that course. And therefore, those needed to be designed differently from the design that is available within the proprietary or the open source LMS. So therefore, the concept of MOOC was created, Massive Open Online Course. As you see on your screen, a Massive Open Online Course or a MOOC is an online course aimed at large-scale interactive participation and open access via the web, the semantic web. So certainly this is web-based, this is exclusively online, and there is no face-to-face interaction, and mentoring is from the mentor to the student individually, but in a large number, and sometimes the mentoring could be in a group, and that group could be hundreds and thousands at times that an online tutor has to handle. In addition to traditional course materials such as videos, readings, and problem sets, MOOCs also provide interactive user forums. There is an interaction also possible that help build a community for the students, professors, and teaching assistants. This is what the Wikipedia in 2012 talked about the MOOC. If we proceed a little further, Granny Knoll from the University of Southampton and along with George Seaman and quite a few others, they worked on the design of technology-enabled learning. She also wrote a piece which talked about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kinds of MOOCs that she could survey and identify. The first is transfer MOOCs, where the existing courses are transferred via the MOOCs. So you need not do anything else except that transfer through your existing platform or by creating a new LMS or website or web platform, learning management system platform for the MOOCs. MOOCs, which are more innovative, making effective use of video and interactive material and are more quality driven. There is a sync MOOC, which is fixed start and end date, and if you miss that, you have to start again. So you cannot accumulate credits and proceed. There is no lateral entry or multiple entry and multiple exit options as available in many other MOOCs. So asynchronous MOOCs, which do not have fixed start and end dates and have more flexible assignment deadlines. So therefore, synchronous as we are right now, same time, maybe at different places, but asynchronous, like an email, for instance, whereby one can throw to the website, to the learning management system. Students take their own time. If you miss a deadline, and certainly you can chip in at a later time, and it depends on the instructor or the online tutor's flexibility to accommodate varieties, large number of students from different parts of the world, and one can handle that. But in that case, when it is the progression is fixed, you can handle large number of students. When the progression is flexible, it's very difficult to maintain a large number. So therefore, the number could be restricted in offer of the MOOCs. Adaptive MOOCs, which provide personalized learning experiences based on dynamic assessment and data gathering on the course. Meaning thereby, if there is a learning analytics possible, that each student is mapped on the basis of certain emotional, intellectual, and such other related indicators, and the MOOC is individualized in the sense that the MOOC is geared towards the individual needs, abilities, and interests, and the future possibilities that one would use that MOOC for the future work. Group MOOCs, where the focus is on collaboration in small groups. We would be basically talking about Lance Burst 1, which is called a connectivist MOOC, when Professor Joe Seaman gave the theory of learning theory for the digital age called connectivism, that which very simply puts that given that there is massive information explosion, and therefore the information is extremely chaotic, and the information is available through networks and nodes, but there is always a shifting stand insofar as information is concerned. And there is a question of authenticity insofar as information is concerned, because a large number of millions and millions of data are available, papers and so on and so forth are available on the website. So therefore, Professor Seaman said that we as teachers and students, we need to develop the ability or the competency such that we can very effectively navigate through a very chaotic, shifting stand information explosion world or database or network to achieve our learning outcomes at a very given specified time, and that too which will be a very high qualitative learning. So therefore, what is important in a connectivist MOOC is that it provides more for collaboration, engagement, more activity, more reflection, and therefore more creativity and innovation. These are the aspects which need to be considered, whether it is a face-to-face classroom education or distance education or online education or a blended learning context, or in the context of MOOCs. We will come to a distinction between the so-called, this is the beginning. Connectivist MOOC is the first 2008 they offered with Professor Joe Siemens and Professor Stephen Downes. They together offered this course in Canada, and eventually that set a very quality standard framework for others to follow, not only MOOCs but also online courses. It is based on the theory of connectivism. So therefore, engagement, collaboration, reflection, these are the hallmarks within that, and therefore all mechanisms or strategies need to be created, and technology would facilitate that would be created so as to facilitate more collaboration, engagement, active learning, as well as more reflective learning. Eventually, these connectivist MOOC boil down to what is called more massive to accommodate large number of students, and therefore that the interaction, collaboration, reflection got a backseat eventually because of the constraints available in a large-scale MOOC system, and therefore some of the very rudimentary strategies used to offer MOOCs today, including edX, Coursera, and so on and so forth, including the SWAYAM platform that we have, national platform that we have in this country. And so they are based on these later development called XMOOCs, and this is what is called CMOOCs or connectivity MOOCs. There are also mini MOOCs available which are much smaller than the traditional massive MOOC. Given these, this is a very brief explanation to what exactly is a MOOC. This is massive because this is offered on a large scale to all who would like to join in. This is open because courses are almost free of cost for anyone who would like to join in. Sometimes the courses are no free. That's the fourth one, I'll come to that, but this is open to anybody who would like to join in, irrespective of age, qualification, or placement, or the country, or gender, or whatever possibilities are there that we distinguish between human beings. But in fact, there is an extreme form of inclusivity and flexibility insofar as openness is concerned. This is certainly online because these courses are offered online at an existing or especially created web platform. Either you could extend your Moodle or WebCity or Blackboard platform to offer a chunk of that course or the module called a MOOC to a large number of students, then your own students who pay the fees in the university or the college. Or you can create a special platform like edX, Coursera. They have created their platforms, or the SWAYAM platform that we have created, where 20% up to 20% of credit hours can be taken by any college or university student in this country from the MOOC. And basically, there are 4 credit courses. So one can take up to 5 courses, for instance, to compensate or to make up for an undergraduate or a postgraduate degree. These are courses, basically. Certainly, they are courses. They are not scattered resources, but they are courses. These are generally credit-based courses, either standalone or related to a program on modular basis. So if it is related to a program on modular basis and you would like to transfer that credit that you complete through the MOOCs to your main certificate, diploma, degree program, then you have to pay for that. And if you do not want to transfer the credit in most cases, then certainly these are free of cost. These are different other terminologies used also. MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, is a book. Big Open Online Courses. The difference between massive and big would be that massive is a large number and big would be the size of the course itself. So it could be more than 4 credits, for instance, in SWAYAM. If it is an 8 credit course, you could call it a big open online course. There is also a DOC, Distributed Open Collaborative Course. That simply means that one course is distributed to a large number, for instance, in the United States. Even regular classroom teaching is also called distributed learning because regular classroom teaching by the professor is distributed across multi-campuses of that university, of course, within the United States. And sometimes the university, if it is outside the United States, then certainly this is also distributed there. But the distributed learning distribution, which is through teleconferencing or which is basically through a satellite technology, has limitations. And if it is a web-based course like a MOOC, and there is no limitation, it can go to any country. Then American courses can go all over the world. The Indian courses can go also all over the world. There is a SPOOC, which is a small private online course. Some of the universities in India are also arguing that we could provide small private online courses where the teachers could handle small number of courses. They are private, but they could also be called a MOOC, sort of MOOC. Then SMOOC, Synchronous Massive Online Course, which is generally synchronous in the sense that there is no asynchronous because Moodle and proprietary platforms or whatever one uses, or specially created platform for MOOC, is generally asynchronous. Very less synchronous is involved. A direct virtual class, real time, is much less, and a whole lot of video lectures and self-study interaction, which is generally asynchronous. These, what you see on your screen, these are the popular MOOCs, the edX platform, which is probably the largest platform so far, and the SWAYAM platform in India, the national platform. For the first time, we have the national platform called SWAYAM, which is based on the edX platform in a similar fashion. But all these, edX and Udemy, Coursera, and all these are called XMOOCs. So you could see under certain indicators, the maximum class size, the brandability, the custom analytics, the monetization, whether it is mobile or not, and who hosts that, whether it is a self-hosted or if it is a third party which hosts that, or you could borrow a platform from somebody else, or your own university creates a platform. SWAYAM is a national platform by the government of India. And therefore, there are different possibilities, including the Moodle platform, which is an open source. Friends, what you see on your screen is a very fundamental teaching learning strategies that one could aim at, that whether it is face-to-face or distance or online or blended, or in case of MOOCs also, that 5 possibilities that I have listed there, that these are the tasks that every teacher needs to do. We could examine whether it's face-to-face, distance, online, blended, or even MOOCs, whether all these are carried forward or carried out in an integrated fashion, in a more qualitative fashion. That would also tell us that distinguish us between an XMOOC and a CMOOC, for instance. One is transmission, that how information gets transmitted through face-to-face lecturing, through video lectures, to virtual classes, synchronous, asynchronous, all possibilities are there. Second, action and interaction. What happens when the teacher interacts with the students or presents lectures or whatever, does with the students within the classroom or outside the classroom? To what extent the students get engaged in action? That would simply mean that the National Education Policy 2020 talks about that. In India, for instance, talks about that anything that we teach, they must be translated into action. That would simply mean that the students would like to engage in some sort of a practice. So we learn more when we do things ourselves, and we still learn more. The learning is more qualitative when we actually start teaching ourselves. So therefore, action and interaction, that is practice in context, is very important. Collaboration, because we would distinguish between individual construction of meaning and the group negotiation of meaning. That we can construct our own meaning, because while a teacher is teaching, every student, each student is interpreting that maybe very differently. When twins interpret very differently, and they would like to perceive that very differently. So when we are in a group, then we would like to undertake discussion towards appreciating each other's meaning and also correcting our own meaning. And when we go through experiences, through doing activities, then we also appreciate that more. That if it is an individual activity, certainly yes. And if it is a group activity, that will be more, because we would appreciate others' meaning, how others are also doing things. There's nothing good, nothing bad. Constructivism would say that everything is fine, as long as an individual perceives that to be fine. So something is fine for you, so it's not fine for me. Something is fine for me, but not fine for you. But then we could negotiate that, and therefore collaboration in a community of practice is very essential. Reflection is extremely essential, because reflection on and reflection in, while doing and after doing, as Professor Donaldson talked about the reflective practitioner, which has become a common practice with professors all over the world in their teaching learning, that even in management practice also, that is in multinational companies are also doing that to what extent we are reflecting while doing and we are reflecting after doing. And reflecting after doing is much more important. Reflecting while doing, say for instance in a synchronous context, is very limited. and reflecting after doing in an asynchronous context, it is much more deeper and much more wider and therefore much more qualitative. And finally, assimilation to be more experienced. Going through all self-study, teacher's presentation, interaction, engagement in activities, individual and group projects and collaboration and interaction, and doing by oneself through internship and whatever hands-on experiences, one becomes more experienced. So therefore, each time we become more experienced than before, and this is what is called assimilation, meaning thereby that whatever we learn, that becomes part of their own mental or cognitive structure. Friends, as I was talking about distinction between the C MOOCs and X MOOCs, when the MOOCs started, they were basically connectivist or collaborative MOOCs, which are more engaging, more reflective. Then gradually, when we increased the number to larger number, they gradually lost sight of, and it was very difficult to do more collaboration, engagement, and reflection. And therefore, gradually it became more standardized and almost linear same for everybody. And therefore, it is called X MOOC. So besides many other MOOCs that we talked about, this is basically two types of MOOCs today, whether it is an X MOOC or whether it is a connectivist MOOC. So you would study on the screen that about self-pacing, affordability, openness in that, flexibility, and credit-based or not, whether the basing is available, whether there is a learning community or practice is possible or not. So it is basically about teaching and learning, but also when we get into connectivist MOOC, it is more about engagement, it is more about activity, it is more about collaboration, it is more about reflective learning, and therefore creative and innovative learning. I was talking about the SWAYAM national platform in India, the 4-quadrant, which is for the first time a national platform because it's more standardized, and everybody in the country could at least meet those minimum standards that are provided there. But if you decide either through a proprietary or maybe an open source platform like Moodle, then you can go beyond what is provided in the SWAYAM. But that's the common minimum that we need to do insofar as a quality teaching learning is concerned. Beyond that, it will be higher quality, higher order learning where more engagement, more collaboration, more reflection would be possible. So in an X MOOC like SWAYAM, for instance, you have a learning management system, the SWAYAM platform. There are learning outcomes defined, the video lectures and assignments, computer marked, tutor marked assignments. There's a discussion forum. Additional resources are also possible, and small-scale learning analytics is being done, and immediately the response is provided to the students on their tasks or assignments, for instance. So the 4-quadrant approach, the first quadrant is a tutorial, the videos and audio content in an organized form, animation, simulation, and all these are possible. The second part of that is the content. It could be a PDF file, it could be a text or ebook or HTML, web-linked resources, and so on and so forth. The quadrant 3, the compulsory part, 1, 2, 3. The quadrant 3 is web resources, related links, Wikipedia, it could be YouTube, it could be any resource on open education resources, and video, audio, text, animation, all kinds of teaching learning resources that are available today. One can also very judiciously, but in a very limited way, because there is a limited time to do that. It must be very authentic and very appropriate. And the final quadrant is about the assessment and largely self-assessment, problems and solutions, which could be in the form of multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks, matching questions, short answer questions, even long answer questions, also quizzes, assignments, frequently asked questions, and so on and so forth. So these 4 components, they are compulsory and they comprise what is called an edX-based SWAYAM platform MOOC. So the courses that are available there, up to 20% that of credit hours in a formal college or university or even distance learning, one can take from those courses for which the university professors will not teach that. Of course, the universities have to pass those courses in their academic statutory bodies like academic council, school boards, and so on and so forth. And those would become part of the part of the degree. So therefore today, given that up to 20% credit hours can be taken from there, one could simply say no degree is either full-time face-to-face degree, because up to 20% is taken online. But the connectivist MOOC, for instance, as you see, that is called MOOC, based on Professor George Seaman and extended by Professor Stephen Downes and quite a few other colleagues all over the world. They have been working on that. Number one, there is a learner choice of content the participant can create. So students or learners' creation of content along with the professor is very important, because traditionally it is believed that it is the teacher who has the authority and the power and therefore authenticity insofar as knowledge is concerned. But today, every human being could be more powerful than the other insofar as intellectual ability, creativity, innovation is concerned. So therefore, it is more important that we co-create resources for ourselves, including tasks, assignments, activities, and so on and so forth. And even hands-on practices could be created, meaning thereby, while doing that, there will be multi-perspectives available, multi-experiences available to each one, because each one shares the other, and the teacher also gets more enriched while co-creating with the students. That would simply mean that there will be multiple pathways towards creativity instead of just one presented by the teacher or the textbook. There is learner autonomy and personalized learning. So while group learning also, there is one-to-one mentoring by the teacher. Diversity in tools and levels of content, of course, it's possible. Interactivity is very important because there is cooperative learning as well as collaborative learning, and there is a possibility of creation of community of practice. There are very diversified ways to create and forms of creating community of practices depending on the discipline, the topic that one is teaching. In a MOOC, it will be very limited. In a 1 year or 2 years degree program, it will be possible to create and maintain that community throughout the 2 years. And open pedagogy, open sharing, and open education practices are possible because of large-scale use of open education resources, more towards individualization, and the possibilities of more collaborative learning. There will be more open pedagogies coming in that OER and such practices would facilitate. So therefore, open education, we will talk about that in another program about open education practices. Social media, there is a large-scale use of at least blog and wiki. Blog is for individual reflection, and wiki is for collaborative reflection, which are very important. Self-organizing networks of interconnections of participants and interaction is possible because a whole lot of networks are available, and if we can connect to diversified networks, the quality of learning gets more enriched. So meta-knowledge generated through community. So metacognitive learning, possibility of socially mediated metacognitive learning would be more possible insofar as connectivist MOOC is concerned. And therefore, self as well as collective reflection. And reflection is an essentially high-level strategy which would facilitate higher levels of quality learning. And these are possible in connectivist MOOC. So friends, I just touch upon one postgraduate diploma in e-learning that we at Staff Training and Research Institute of Distance Education provided, and Dr. Misra, my colleague, started, and myself and Dr. Maithili, we presented that for quite a few years. And about a few years back, that was the last year, 2013 or 14, when the online courses were discontinued, and programs were discontinued by the regulator, UGC, in this country, that last batch got through a national competition, the best award for innovative ICT program in the ICT-based program or technology-enabled learning program in this country. I got the best award, the national award in this country. Meaning thereby, what was in that? Because pedagogy was deciding technology, and pedagogy and technology were kept at a very simple level. They were talking to each other, and they were very learner-friendly, pedagogically rich and technologically learner-friendly. So what does it mean? That you see on your screen, that we developed that program based entirely on open education resources. All the activities were done online. There were collaborative discussion and discussion forum assignments on Moodle LMS. Also interaction through specially created Google Groups, and that interaction was also part of the assessment strategy. The assessment rubric also included the interaction through Google Groups, though it was very informal interaction but related to the diploma and e-learning. The diploma was basically e-learning through e-learning. We used the Moodle platform for that. And therefore, each student was provided a chunk, a corner within the Moodle platform to design, develop, deliver, and evaluate, submit a project on a Moodle course based on agriculture, rural development, for management or human rights or women entrepreneurship or anything that they would like to. They were basically in-service people, and they would develop that. And almost every week or fortnightly, there was a virtual class and one-on-one virtual class, which is synchronous. And we used that the Web Connect because that was, and we paid for that, and that was considered to be a very versatile platform. There was also a compulsory hands-on 2 weeks workshop in which the students would learn the nuances of the open source technology for future use to design, develop, and offer their MOOC or the Moodle course or Moodle training. So therefore, that also concerned with the media technology, software, open resources, open technologies design, and there was an extensive use of blog and wiki and e-portfolios, blogging for individual reflection and wiki for collective or the group reflection. And almost everything, including e-portfolio, examination, everything was presentations. They were done online through systems that would authenticate that the student is a real student who is presenting. And each semester there were examinations, and they were formative as well as summative evaluation. So what we did, and therefore we would call this as a connectivist MOOC beyond what is called an X-MOOCs, like a SOAM platform or edX, for instance, because the student learning was active, it was interactive, there was more accessibility provided, whole lot of media which is learner-friendly, they were engaged in doing that, and there were a lot more collaboration, engagement, active engagement, and therefore active learning in that, and the student experience was highly embraced. And therefore, the pedagogy that we followed in that, both teachers and students, the practice, everybody was aware of the pedagogy and technology that was being followed in that program. So the strategies that we followed was direct instruction, virtual class, presentation, interaction, and guidance for open education resources. So the weekly schedules were available for the whole year, and it was a guided, mentored, interactive study. Second, there was learner-learner interaction with guided mentoring through Google Groups. 3, there were authentic tasks because they had to use the Moodle platform to develop their training or teaching or learning module online through the Moodle platform based on their own work that they are doing. Somebody is a school teacher, and our colleagues from Adobe, Microsoft, they had also joined in. They would bring the Adobe experience, the Microsoft experience, for instance, to do that. So therefore, it was all full of authentic tasks, though there were a lot more theories involved in that. Learning nuances of open source technologies for in the face-to-face workshop, 2-week hands-on workshop that we had. Reflection on practice, the discussion forum was basically used for reflecting on practice because the practice is the design, development, and delivery, and finally evaluation of the Moodle-based online teaching or training or learning resources that they would develop based on their own profession that they are into, whether it's in agriculture or management or school teaching or computing science or human rights or environmental disaster management or whatever they were involved in. There was self-regulation. The e-portfolio was largely used for self-regulated learning, and therefore time management, self-control, a whole lot of regulatory mechanisms that were available as we do in our day-to-day teaching practice. They were also equally done, and there was an online 24/7 technology support available. So therefore, based on the experiences and based on the literature available, that you see that an online instructor, online professor, online tutor, or online facilitator would have almost all these abilities to do by oneself, except that there will be 24/7 technology support by a technology group within the campus, or within the university, within the institution, or within the training organization that one is in. One is a manager, a designer, a technologist, a supporter, a learner supporter, a facilitator, an advisor, a co-learner, and a content expert, a researcher, instructor, assessor, and a mentor. So therefore, finally, friends, I would recommend, and there are many courses available to you, but I would recommend the Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver, Canada is offering a MOOC for development, massive open-line courses for development, which is a very popular online course. If you like, the website is given there. You could also, this is free of cost, you could learn that how to design and develop MOOC, and MOOC for development, MOOC for agriculture, MOOC for sustainability, MOOC for livelihood, MOOC for teaching, MOOC for management, MOOC for computing, and so on and so forth. So with this, thank you very much. I complete my presentation. This is part of our course 518 in the Masters in Distance Education program. And this was a brief introduction to MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses. You would study more when you Google. Plenty of resources are available free of cost, freely. Authentic resources, some of the authentic writers, they have been researchers, they have been developing, and there are quite good MOOCs itself are available, and we can go through those MOOCs and see whether all these features that we discussed that are present there. When you develop your own MOOC, you could also be considering a brief factors present intervention that I made, some of the factors that you would like to consider to make your MOOC very qualitatively enriched. Thank you very much.